parts of this Bible is the opinions of people that is error. We agree on that now.
Yes.
Thank you.
Because
he agreed at least.
People
are people. They make mistakes.
People, exactly. But you have
give
to,
me that, bro. Give me that.
One thing you have to understand, because you're missing the point of what I'm saying.
I don't think I am, but okay.
Because if all of the stories match up perfectly, it's suspect in the court system, right?
Right. Because
so it makes more perfect sense that all of the stories are different because they're all from different perspectives.
Excellent. So this is the perspectives of people.
Different people from different perspectives.
Thank you.
That's why they're saying different things, because they weren't all at the same spot at the exact same time writing down the same thing.
I'm in agreement.
Lives in different places, and they all had different experiences at different times of Jesus.
And some of them are wrong.
Right.
Right. So some of this Bible is wrong.
Depending on the event.
But there are wrong things in it, because he just said it's a perspective of people, right?
Right.
He agreed now, so at least he's on the same page.
Let me put it this way, because now you're cutting me off a little bit. But
I'm listening.
Let me try to put it this way.
Okay.
For example, let's say I'm standing way over there on that side of the courtyard. You're standing here, and she's standing way on that side.
Okay.
And right here in the middle, in between all of us, somebody gets stabbed, right?
Gotcha.
And we all give an account to a police officer of what happened.
They're going to differ.
We're all going to give a different perspective because we're all different people in different places experiencing the same thing at a different time.
Excellent.
So that's exactly why the accounts are different.
So I'm not missing that point. I'm actually agreeing to it.
Okay.
So let's say you say a white man stabbed a Mexican man, right? And she says an Asian man stabbed a Mexican man. And I say a black man stabbed a Mexican man. Now, the same event, we all give 3 different accounts. One of us or 2 of us is wrong, right? So I'm in agreement with you. And here in the Bible, we see different accounts. So some of them are wrong. So there are errors here from people's perspectives.
But the point that you're missing is that
can I finish?
It all has the same.
I'll let you finish.
Yeah, but it's all the same story.
Okay, so I'm going to listen to him.
It's all the same story. All the points connect, even though it's a different account and different perspective. As long as it's the bigger picture that matters. Okay, is what I'm saying.
I'm letting you finish. So when you have errors, okay, then it cannot be considered the word of God, because you earlier agreed that God is perfect, he doesn't make errors. So the issue gets to be, now that you know there are different perspectives and errors, this cannot become our criteria for right and wrong, because it obviously has mistakes. Now I'm going to make an assertion to you that we have the Quran with no errors. 0. The words of God, not the words of men, not perspective, not what I saw and what he saw, and no errors in it. So why don't we make that the criteria of right and wrong, that which 0 errors?
There's so many things that can point out.
Please, go ahead, please. No, wait, I'm sorry.
It's okay to hit your wife, first of all.
Where does Allah say that?
Quran 4:34.
And plus, I don't want to be offensive.
I'm sorry, go ahead. It's okay, go ahead, be offensive.
So I want to do my research from my side, so I can,
So, when we look at this, men are in charge of women. Men are qawamun ala nisa. The ayah, they are caretakers of women. What Allah has given over them and the other, and what they spend on maintenance of their wealth. So righteous women are those that are devout and obedient, guarding their chastity in their husband's absence. And Allah would have them guard, to keep themselves safe from fornication and things like this. For those wives from whom you fear arrogance, then advise them. What is the first thing you do?
To advise them.
You advise them. You don't hit them. It's not okay to just go ahead and start pounding. It's you give them advice, okay? Then, if they persist in continuing in disobedience and acts of fahsh, which are lewd acts, then forsake them in bed. What do you do then? You don't just go ahead. If your wife, and I'm not saying you guys are married or not, but I'm just saying if your wife is out there doing immoral acts, well, you are not just going to sit around and not give her advice or stop her from that, right? You're going to, so first thing, the Quran doesn't say hit them. It says to go and advise them foremost, with love, with sincerity. If not, then don't sleep with them. Separate, give them a taste of separation to stop that immoral act. And if not, then finally strike them lightly. Don't hit them, don't beat them. Sure. No, I'm proud of the Quran. And this is not a contradiction. We're just talking about a verse from the Quran. You still haven't shown it, okay? Lightly. But if they obey, if they are doing righteous from what God has sent, then seek no means against them. Indeed, Allah is all exhausted and granted. Now, you just take this verse that says that first you advise them, then what do? You separate your bed, then even if you do hit them, it's got to be lightly, it can't be brutal. And compare that, wait, I'm sorry, let me finish now, because I looked at the verse you had. Now, let's look at the same concept that we can find in the Bible for beatings, right? And if a man sells his daughter to be a female slave, she shall not go out as the male slaves do. Then she does not please her master, to whom he's betrothed to her for himself, then he shall let her be redeemed, and shall have no right or sell to a foreign people, since they have dealt deceitfully. So if he takes his daughter and sells her in slavery, then she has to make sure that she is now doing what the slave master asks of her. If you look at this, if you look at the beating of slaves, as I've already mentioned, right? If somebody curses their father or their mother, they shall be put to death.
Yeah.
If somebody curses their parent,
exactly
they're put to death.
Says,
Yeah. And if he takes another wife, he shall not diminish her food or clothing from her first marriage, in the Bible as well. You shall not permit a sorcerer to live. If somebody is homosexual, their punishment is also death. If you look at all of this, that verse is nothing compared to the beating of slaves with rods and killing them. So don't, I'm just saying, don't use a double standard. If you're going to defend this and saying beating of slaves to death was justified for some reason, then admonishing and advising your wife cannot be your objection to the Quran. Go ahead.
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
But anyways, what I'm trying to say is that, as a Christian, when you become a Christian, Jesus came and he changed all the, I don't know how to say it. I'm losing all my words.
Okay.
So even Jesus only says to love your neighbor, right?
Okay.
Always treat them right, respect them. And in the Bible, it doesn't say anything about beating your wife, not even the hitting
we just
her,
mentioned those slaves, the beating was that okay?
Slaves?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not okay, but if God says it's a
Depends on what
punishment.
happens.
Okay, so now look at the double standard, right? Look at the double standard. When you're saying, if God said you beat a slave half to death and he dies a day later, that's okay.
Okay,
But let me just finish.
yeah.
I'll let you finish, right?
Okay.
We have to have this respect that we've been having, okay? You're saying if God says to beat a slave half to death and he dies a day later, there's no punishment for you. That's okay because that's God. But when God says to advise women not to beat them and to separate the bread and even to stop them from immoral act, to hit them lightly, oh, that's not acceptable. Well, if God,
That's not what I was trying to say, because I lost my words and I
okay,
couldn't
I'm
even
going to listen
explain
to you now.
myself.
I'm going to listen to your words.
Yeah. Okay. So what I was trying to say is that when God judges something, it's fair, because
Okay,
when
excellent.
somebody-
I agree with you.
Hold on. So
Okay.
whenever you go to a court, right? There's somebody that murdered. I'm sorry. I know you didn't murder anyone, but
Use me as an example. Me.
Okay. I'm gonna use two. That's why.
Okay.
So he murdered somebody, and then I guess you didn't do anything. So
Right.
whenever God judges somebody, he could say he needs to be killed.
I agree with you.
That's a fair thing, right?
That is.
So when we read the Bible, God always does some the
Something for a
judgments
Agreed.
always for a reason.
Agreed.
You know what I mean? But when it comes to your wife, you always have to love them. And when God made Eve from Adam, he didn't make her from the feet. She's equal, so he made her from the side. Does that make sense?
I'm totally with
nobody
you.
needs to be hitting anyone, that's
Gotcha.
what we believe.
Okay.
But when it comes to killing, you
Slaves.
showed me an example,
Yeah.
slaves and stuff. And I don't know what the meaning of slaves was back then
It
than
means
now.
a worker.
You're a worker, so it's okay to kill your worker.
Yeah.
Slave back then was a worker and a master was like the boss. So it's
So
an
the-
employer
so
and
the-
an employee
so
basically
I-
in today's
So
terms.
let me let you finish and then I'll speak.
Okay. I'm speaking?
Yes, please.
Oh,
I told you I'm
okay.
gonna let you finish.
Okay, yeah. So whatever God is doing when he says go punish these people, for example Sodom and Gomorrah, even Elijah went out to these people and he killed them. He made fire, come from the sky and kill them. There's always a reason, but there's no reason to hit somebody just because
Gotcha.
she's doing something wrong.
Immoral.
Immoral
Right.
things, you don't need to hit her because she's as equal as you, but you need to
But a slave is okay to hit
just
them.
leave her. I'm sorry?
Okay, are you done?
Yeah, go
Okay.
ahead.
Now, please see that you're using a completely double standard. Let me just explain this. If you're saying God ordained the beating of slaves for a reason, even though no reason is given there, but you're assuming that there was some reason that a person has a worker and it's okay for them to beat that worker to death as long as they die a day later, that's okay. And when the Quran is telling you, this is also from God, right? If you're saying, no, wait, I'm sorry. Again, we're not going by perspectives here. You're saying that if God ordained something, there's got to be some reason behind it, right? But you're not giving the same justice to the Quran. When we're saying that what you find in the Bible, a servant of yours, right? and you beat them to death, there's not even any immoral act given here, and they die from that beating, such a severe beating, you're saying that's okay because God judges and that's God's judgment. But when the Quran tells you not to beat, not to kill, none of that, tells you to admonish, and then if you have to lightly use force to stop the immoral action, you're saying, oh, that's not acceptable. You know and I know that you're using a double standard here. It's okay. I understand what you're saying, that because you're Christian, you're going to justify the Bible no matter what. Yeah, and that's wrong. Yeah. Because as a person who seeks truth, you should look at the Bible and the Quran in the same light. And then see, when you see these numeric clear contradictions that you can go home and look up, when you see different accounts of Judah, of the resurrection, of the genealogy of Jesus, different accounts that don't match. I can show you if you like.
No, it's okay.
Okay, so, right? So then you have already agreed, I don't know if you have yet, that there are some errors in the Bible because of perspective, right?
No, I wouldn't call them errors.
Oh, you just said that earlier, bro.
Well, no, that's what I'm trying to tell you. You keep like,
one of them has to be wrong, right?
Technically,
like
yes,
the example you gave.
But just because I saw something a certain way doesn't mean that I was wrong.
So let's go back to your example. Let's go back to your example. You saw somebody get stabbed, right? Yes. And you said it was, I forgot, you said it was a white man that stabbed a Mexican man, for example.
Either way, we all saw a different
yes.
man stabbed the Mexican
So even though you said what you thought, you were wrong because it wasn't, right?
Technically, yes.
Yes, thank you. Technically, yes. So technically, there are those mistakes in the Bible that are people's perspective. This is not the words of God. This is the words of those who gave their perception, and some of them give different perceptions. So one has to be right and one has to be wrong.
Why does
Judas
one have to be right and one does
okay, let me explain that. Let me explain that.
Let me say.
Go ahead.
Let me say this. I'm sorry. But let's say that, like I try to hung myself, and he came like at 1 o'clock and he saw me like hanging myself, and then you came like at 2 o'clock and then you saw something else.
Yes.
And you put it in a book, different
I agree with
perspective,
you.
but different timing.
I agree with you.
I don't believe the Bible is wrong whatsoever.
Excellent. Okay, so
because that's why I believe.
Excellent. But the issue is that Judas, if he hung himself, then this is one thing. Nobody took him off being hung. He hung himself. Either he gave the money back or he bought land with it. It can't be both. Either he died by hanging himself or he fell and his guts came out. It can't be both. Either Isaiah was 8 or 18. Either Jehoiachin was 22 or 42.
Definitely, I'll do my research.
Excellent. So just do one thing for me. When you do that research, don't do the closed mind. Don't just say, I'm going to justify this no matter what. If you find that there are actual errors that I've shown you here in the Bible, if you see those are different, then what you need to do is read the Quran open-mindedly. Don't come in and say my neighbors were like this or our Quran does this. No, just be open-minded.
I'm open-minded.
Excellent, excellent. Well, I appreciate and I'm respectful to your views. I love to have a good, honest conversation. And these, you look at these stickies, don't think I haven't read the Bible. Don't think I haven't read it inside. Don't think I haven't studied with Christians. So it's not like I'm coming from a closed-minded perspective. I used to go to Bible studies before I chose to be a Muslim, all right? So looking at the Bible and the Quran, me and this brother here and that brother there and his father, we all became Muslims because we found this to be the true word of God, no contradictions, not people's perspective, no different ideas, one true message. Don't just go and Google mistakes in the Quran. You can if you want, but that's not going to help you. And if you do, bring them to me.
Like, it's good to read it and stuff, and I appreciate it. But I'm not telling you that I'm going to convert to be Muslim.
Nobody told you to. Did I ask you to?
No, because I don't want.
We'll just take the one.
Okay. Sometimes people, yeah, we're together.
Look,
but people sometimes edit it and like say that.
Nobody's going to edit you. We're only going to blur you out if you like, right? And nobody's asking you or forcing you to become Muslim. All I'm saying is, read the Quran with an open mind.
I would do.
Allah guides who He wills. We don't force Islam on anybody. We can't force. Islam begins in the heart. How can I change your heart? I cannot. If Allah guides you, this is good for you. If Allah doesn't guide you, I did my job, right? I respect your conversation. I really appreciate the fact that both of you are very respectful. We get some people here that are not so respectful, so we really appreciate it. And I hope that this doesn't come off as any kind of disrespect, but rather research that I hope will be for the truth seekers.
Yeah, of course.
Thank you so much.
We'll definitely read this.
I appreciate it.
Not to prove it wrong or anything, but
excellent. You are two good people, and I ask Allah to guide you to the truth. All right, and me.
So nice.
Thank you so much.
إذا أعجبك الفيديو لا تنسى الإعجاب والتعليق، ولكي يصلك كل جديد اشترك الآن.